In my book, Sketching Nature, I have a section called Adding Extra Details. And this is really about that additional information that I add to a page. And I'm going to cover that first before I cover techniques, because it's really important that you get into a good practice with writing down certain information. Now, you can write down whatever you want in many parts. There are some things that have to go down first. But then after that, it's up to you. I keep mine fairly scientific, I suppose, that I write descriptions of the plant, and it's very much about the plants, but I also add in anecdotal information and observations and just things that I find interesting. But you might want to make it more of a memory book. You might want to write about plants that are important to you for reasons that are personal to you. So it's entirely up to you, but this is how I start. So I start always with the same type of information, and here we have a page that I completed recently of an iris, and this is Iris pseudochorus, the flag iris, yellow flag iris, which is a native British plant. And here you can see that I've written the 23rd of June 2025, and that's the first thing that goes onto every page, is that date, and then the name of the plant, which I confirm is correct, and I put the family down as well that that plant belongs to. So I confirm the name of the plant using Floras or using the Plants of the World online resource by Q, which gives you the correct name, current name. There you can see the family name, and then information about the flowering time I've got written here. And you can see that I've written this information in ink. I used to do it in pencil, but it became very pale, so I write it in ink now with a dip pen. But I'll tell you more about that later. So that's the basics that I start with, and that goes down first. And here you can see a second page, and there you can see the date. This is from 2023, and it was the earlier in June. Same plant in a different place. And it's really useful to look back between books, especially when you've painted the same subject and how you've done it differently. So I've got more descriptive information on this page than I have on the other one about the actual height of the plant and the arrangement of the parts of the plant, the flowers, the reproductive parts, etc. It's very much a description of the plant and the key parts of it and how they're arranged, whereas the other one is a little bit different. And I don't need to repeat that. I can look back in that book for that information. And so if I'm looking for information, I might use a book like this Wildflower Key of the Plants from the British Isles by Frances Rose, which is a useful book, a field guide. And looking up the plant there, I can find it with an image of it just to confirm. This is a fairly straightforward one, but sometimes there's lots of different similar plants. And there's all the sort of key information that I need for helping me to know what to write down. So the other thing that goes on the page is my colour charts. And you can see here I've done them on both pages. Now, just because I've painted the same subject twice, it doesn't mean I'm not going to do the colour charts a second time. Now, some of those colours are the same and some of them are different. So here you can see I used New Gamboge, but I didn't on the other page. I used a yellow with a mixture of red. And I used French ultramarine here, and I used Indanthrine blue here as my main blue for the green mixes. And bear in mind that it's not exact same plant, it's a different one in a different place, although it's the same species, but there are lots of ways to get to the same place with colour mixing. So sometimes I might use Indanthrine blue, and other times I might use French ultramarine, and experiment with them in the sketchbook to see what works best. But what I always do is write down my primary colours first, and then the mixes beneath. So say Windsor Lemon was number 1, and Permanent Rose is number 3, and French ultramarine is number 5. Then my green mix might be number 5 plus number 1 plus a very small amount of number 3. And that's how I annotate the colours. And of course I can vary the ratio of those colours in a mix, and I'll also write that down. So going back to the dip pens, I've got a variety of them, and this one I did with this glass pen. It's Murano glass. I just picked this up in a shop in Italy, and it's a really very nice pen, so I like using it. It's got a nice grip on it, and the writing is fine with it, which is important for me. I don't want anything too heavy. I also use this one quite commonly. This one is a Hunt nib. It's a 512, which is good for fine lines and writing. So you can use it for drawing as well as writing. It works quite well for both. I occasionally draw some details with the pen, but mostly I use it for writing. And I use this ink by Tom Norton, and it's the walnut ink, and it's light fast, it's water soluble, and it's acid free, which is good obviously for using on artwork. So you can see obviously it's brown because it's walnut ink, and I find that not too intrusive, and it's quite a light colour that works well with the subjects on the page. I've tried black, it's too heavy. I've tried grey, it's a bit purple sometimes, or not quite the right colour that I want. It doesn't match in with the graphite or whatever, so I find the walnut ink works best for me. But if you haven't used one of these types of pens before for writing or drawing, it's important to have a little practice with it first before you touch pen to paper, because you can get a nasty ink splodge if you have too much ink in your pen. And you also want to know that it's the right fineness of nib for the writing that you want to add to the page, or the drawing you want to add to the page. So just practice like this on a piece of spare paper to make sure it's okay. And it's a really very nice nib, this Hunt nib. It's perfect for what I need because it's nice and fine and gives me the look that I want, that's not overbearing on the page, that it's dominating everything. And you can see that I've used this on every page for the last sort of 18 months or so, but it is water soluble. And here I did this outdoors and I got some rain on it, so I've got a few little runs with that, so you have to be careful with that aspect of it when you're writing. And generally it works very well, and it's a good addition to the page, adding that information in a way that complements the drawings on the page without dominating them. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. There are little imperfections and things, and it all adds to the character of the book and the memories you have of the book. Don't be overly precious, and don't spend forever trying to make your writing neater than it is. Your writing is what it is. That's the way I look at it anyway. And just enjoy the process of making your book and learning about plants and writing for the joy of it, really, rather than feeling under pressure by it. And if in the future you want to illustrate this plant as a painting, you have all that amazing reference work that you've already done at hand to use for your reference material. And so I hope you found that useful in terms of writing additional details in your sketchbook, and it gives you some idea of how to do it.